Hello, welcome to the Gym Starters YouTube channel. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my first video, so let's see how it goes. Hello. Hello, and welcome to the channel. I'm the Gym Starter, Adam Berry, and I'm here to take you through 5 awesome rules for fat loss life. Now, I wanted to think about what my first YouTube video, educational YouTube video, was going to be for you all. And my entire career as a personal trainer, which has now spanned 5 years, has always been underpinned by these 5 awesome rules for fat loss life. I used to call them my 5 golden rules for life, but I kind of got a bit sick of that. I thought trying to tell people that they have a golden rule that they need to stick to makes it a bit kind of goody two shoes. And I'd much prefer, rather than chasing gold, I'd much prefer for you to chase being awesome. So these are the 5 rules that you need in order to help you stay within what is number 1. Now I'm going to go through them all individually, but let me just run through them nice and quickly for you. Number 1, you need a calorie deficit. Number 2, I'd like you to try and have 3 litres of water a day. Number 3, protein and veggies at every meal. Number 4, 10,000 steps a day. And number 5, 7 to 8 hours sleep each night. Now these are obviously up for debate, massively up for debate. And that's fine. If you disagree with them, tell me in the comments. If you agree with them, tell me in the comments. What I would say is, over the years, these have always been what my clients have always gone back to whenever they've fallen off the wagon, whenever they've lost track, whenever they've stopped being as focused as they needed to be. This is the formula I use to get them focused and back into burning fat and building muscle. And this is how we do it. So first, I will say the number 1 rule you need in order to lose fat, which we should all know by now, is a calorie deficit. It's non-negotiable. You can't lose body weight unless you're in a calorie deficit. It's a fact. And the next 4 all help us get into a calorie deficit. And you'll notice that I've missed one very important one off there, and there's a reason for that. So these 4 others help us always to get into a calorie deficit. The number 1 thing you've got to focus on is a calorie deficit. Now, how do we know if we're in a calorie deficit? Well, a calorie deficit, in easy terms, is known as calories in versus calories out. We need to be getting rid of more calories each day than we're consuming. If we do that over a long enough period of time, yep, indeed, you're going to lose weight. How do we know how many calories it is? That's a very good question, and that is a whole other video within itself, which I'm sure I'll get around to doing at some point. But all you need to know is you can find calorie calculators as much as you want on the internet, and you could probably take an average of 3 or 4 of them and get a rough idea, but it's not an exact science. One format I like to use, and one thing that I learned off of Jordan Sayat of Sayat Fitness, is take your goal body weight, so whatever you want to weigh, take that in pounds and times it by 12. So take your goal body weight in pounds and times it by 12. And that's how many calories we need to eat each day to stay in a calorie deficit. Now that is for a very, very, very long-term mindset. That is for you sticking to all of the habits in place that we outline later on in this video. That's what it is. But you need to basically do that and hit that number to stay within a calorie deficit. That is provided you're doing number 2 next. Number 2, 3 litres of water a day. Right, why am I saying 3 litres of water a day? The number is kind of irrelevant. I think it's optimal, 3 litres. I find 3 litres is big enough a challenge for my clients, but I also find it's enough to keep us hydrated. I find it's enough for us to not be over-hydrated, and it's generally just a good ballpark figure to stick to. Why am I going to want you to drink water if you want to lose weight? Well, firstly, it's calorie-free, so that's a win-win. We can consume stuff without it actually leading to knocking out our calorie deficit. That's going to be ideal. What else does water do for us? Well, it will give you energy. And if you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to notice your energy levels might deplete a little bit. You might choose to sit down as opposed to stand up. You might not be able to stand on the train if you're going into work, for instance, or you might choose to just do less steps each day. And if you're restricting your calories, your body's going to fight against that. So we want to keep our energy up, and that's why I tell people to focus on 3 litres of water a day. The next point, and it's a very good point, is we're going to want you to curb your hunger. If we're going to be in a calorie deficit, someone who's just started on fat loss and never done this before in their life is going to feel the pangs of hunger when they first go into, number one, a calorie deficit. When they first start trying to eat more salads, and when they start improving their diet, they're going to feel more hungry. And water is one of the best tools against that. So by filling yourself up with water when you feel like you might fancy a snack, realizing that you're just got boredom hunger as opposed to actual hunger for food, all of that can be masked by having water. Chances are you're not hungry, chances are you're thirsty, or you just think you're hungry, and we need to just fill our stomach up, put something into our bodies that's going to help us move forward with our day and keep us, more importantly, on track. Number 3, protein and veggies at every meal. Now, when I first started as a personal trainer, my nutrition knowledge wasn't what it is now. It wasn't fantastic. It's taken me a long time to get my head around nutrition, which is why I tried to make this one as simple as possible. I knew that if you're in a calorie deficit, you need protein, and I knew that we need to keep our health and our nutrition high, so vegetables would be a good move. Plus, telling you to eat fruit at dinner would just be a bit weird. So I put protein and veggies at every meal on my list as number 3, and you know what? It's worked a treat. If you can build a plate with protein first, a nice fist-sized chunk of protein, whether that be fish, chicken, turkey, steak if you like it, and you know what, the vegetarians watching this, I'm vegetarian too. It can be a little bit more tricky, but I just use things like corn or veggie burgers and things like that. As long as you start building your plate with the protein first, and then you put all your vegetables on there, what I then say is carbohydrates will come along for the ride. Now don't get me wrong, I am not anti-carbohydrates, I am pro-carbohydrates. I have vegetables in my 5 Awesome Rules for Life. They are carbohydrates. But when people like me and people on the internet say, oh, you need to reduce your carbs, we don't mean vegetables, we don't mean complex carbohydrates like brown rices and things like that, pulses, quinoa, lentils, all of those things. What we mean is your pastas, your sugars, your breads, things like that. Now, you know, when I say carbs, when someone on the internet says carbs, you know deep down really what we mean. So that is what I would say. Carbs will come along for the ride. I'm not being funny. If you're sticking to this, you're going to be finding carbohydrates throughout your day anyway, whether that be a little biscuit on the side, whether that be cake because it's Sandra's birthday in the office. You're going to be having those carbs throughout your day. So what I prefer is when we come to meal times and the meal times are totally under our control, then let's make sure that we're not starting our plate off with those on our plate. You know, we're avoiding things like pasta bakes, spaghetti meatballs. If you're cooking a meal and the first word in that meal is a carbohydrate source, maybe we need to rethink the meal. Maybe we just need to invert the meal. That can be done as well. Don't get me wrong, I like spaghetti and meatballs. Vegetarian ones. Number 4, 10,000 steps a day. Now don't jump on me. I'm not saying 10,000 steps a day is a magic number. What I am saying is you need to move just that little bit more. Me telling a taxi driver or a trucker or a 10-hour-a-day office worker, a lawyer, something like that, to do 10,000 steps a day is totally unachievable. And I appreciate that. And if it's totally what about now? We're in lockdown. It's totally unachievable for a lot of people. And that's fine. And therefore, if you're not hitting it, you're going to feel like a failure. I put it on there as a marker. It's something that you're going to recognize. It's something that's going to trigger your brain to go, yeah, I need to move. My steps haven't quite been where they're at. Now, if you're struggling to lose weight for whatever reason, one of the key indicators of that will definitely be your daily movement. The part of our metabolism this is called is NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And your NEAT is one of the most important parts of your metabolism because, again, it's under your control. So, what I would ask is that you increase your steps each day. If you can hit 10,000, great. If your job is totally unachievable to hitting 10,000 a day, not a problem. How about we try and increase it by 1,000 for a month, and then maybe 2,000 once you've got used to that. And we will build up slowly but surely, as in stepping stones. And then number 5, 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night. Now I know what some of you are thinking. I'm a new mum, I've got young kids, that's impossible, it's never going to work. I get that. If you work shifts, I get it. It's hard, okay? So what I would say is 7 to 8 quality hours of sleep a day. So if you have to have 2 4-hour blocks, it's not ideal, but it's going to help. I think sleep is wildly underrated because it, one, helps us control our stress, and stress will get in the way of you being able to stay here at number 1. Stress will play havoc in number 3 and your diet. Tiredness is going to mean you're going to drink less water because you're going to be going for coffee, tea, other substances a lot more. So if we can make sure that we are trying to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, then it's going to give you each day enough energy, and it's going to make you want to wake up each day with the right mindset in order to nail the other 4 on the list each and every day. Don't underestimate the value of sleep. I know your boss might underestimate the value of your sleep, and I know that we live in an environment where technology is abundant and we take our phones to bed and everything else. All these things are getting in the way of our ability to sleep. What I would say is if you can front load it before midnight, that would be awesome too. So let's say if you can get to bed at 10 o'clock and you get 2 really quality hours of sleep before midnight, then when your child wakes you up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, it's going to be far less of a problem for you. So 7 to 8 hours sleep a night is really important for your fat loss. So that's it, the 5 awesome rules for fat loss life. Now I know what you're probably thinking, and I referred to it earlier. Hang on a sec, why are you not telling me to train? Well, there's a very good reason for that. 1, I used to give this to clients, and it was a given that my clients would be training with me each week. And 2, I don't think you necessarily need to train in order to lose weight initially. However, lifting heavy weights is damn important for your muscular health, your skeletal health, your health as you age, and without a doubt for your metabolic health. But these are daily habits, and training is not a daily habit. Exercise is a daily habit. That's why 10,000 steps each day is on there. You must exercise each day, but that is very different to training. Training in the gym, lifting heavy weights, doing your deadlifts, your squats, your step ups, your lunges, your rows, your lat pull downs, your overhead presses, your barbell rows. All of these things are very important, but they're not daily habits that you need to drill. So yes, train 3 times a week. 4 times a week if you want, if you can slide it into your life. Don't forget, not everyone can do that in their lives. Even if you can only get to the gym for 1 hour a week, do that. That will help. But you must always underpin your training with these things. If you underpin your training with these things, this bit, fat loss will happen easily. Did you like to say? Fat loss will happen easily. And that's it. That's all I need you to remember. If we can do these things, we're going to conquer these things, and that is going to make you awesome! Absolutely awesome. It's going to build your confidence like never before, because you're going to be taking daily action to help you reach your goals. And that is the most important thing. Right, if you've liked this first educational video, I really hope you have, then thank you. Please give it a thumbs up down below. If you like the slippers, please give it a thumbs up down below. And as I said at the start, if you could subscribe to the channel right here, that would be perfect. That's it from me. Peace, love and protein. High fives and positive vibes.